Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Primis Proposition podcast here, the Lion Roar. I'm Matt Brown, Head of Proposition, and I'm joined by Nikki Hemmings, our Proposition Manager. Hiya, Nikki.
Hi, Matt, and thank you again for the introduction, and welcome everybody to the latest edition of Hear the Lion Roar.
And this is the last one of the year, and we've got a bit of a corker of a guest today. So we've got Andrea Roberts, National Account Manager from Hodge. Hi, Andrea, how are you?
Hiya, Matt and Nikki. Yeah, absolutely. Leave the best till last.
That's what we've done. We should have all worn Christmas jumpers today, really, shouldn't we? But we never didn't think that one through. So good, Andrea. So I guess before we get into sort of grilling you about Hodge, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself first?
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, I've been with Hodge not for that long actually, since August last year, so August 2021. But yeah, I have, almost 30 years, which is amazing, of experience within the financial services industry. Clearly, I don't look like it, but yeah. So previous to Hodge, I had a similar role with Principality Building Society as key account manager, and then before that a mortgage advisor, mortgage broker, underwriter, direct sales, all sorts of stuff within the financial services. So you name it, I've done it. Absolutely, which has put us in really good stead.
Loads of experience then, hey?
Absolutely, yes, but lots more to come though, of course.
Good stuff.
Excellent. Well, should we get into the questions then? So I'm going to be learning as we go along with this one as well.
Cool.
So my first question for this one is then, so for a broker who's never heard of Hodge, what do they need to know?
And you know what, Nikki, that's a really, really good question to start with. So Hodge, who are Hodge? So we are a specialist lender, but absolutely we're not the new kid on the block. So we've got more than 50 years experience in helping customers, but we help customers in the moments that matter most to them. And hopefully through the questions, this will all be drawn out. But more than that, Hodge is a business with a purpose. So what I mean by that is 79% of the business is owned by a charity, the Julian Hodge Foundation. So 79% of the bank's profits go to charitable projects and research. So our business is savings, it's regulated mortgages and also commercial lending. But yeah, Hodge Bank really is an innovator. So to give you a bit of background, we were the first bank to launch onto the equity release market back in the day, and actually remained one of the key lenders in the space for many, many years until we withdrew from that particular market in February 2021. But more recently, we worked closely with the FCA to develop the Rio product, which was brought to market in 2018. So as you can see, really understanding the customer's life journey and the complexities of income, whether that be self-employed, projected pension income, or even a young professional just starting out, serving the underserved markets is really what's at the heart of everything that we do.
Fantastic. And you started that off by saying specialist lender. What makes Hodge a specialist lender?
Yeah, but first off though, I would actually question, well, what is a specialist lender full stop? So if you'd have asked me that question probably 5 years ago, I would have said, you know what, a specialist lender is all about a lender that considers adverse, HMOs, portfolio landlords, bridging finance, that type of thing. But it's not all about portfolio buy-to-lets, adverse. Being a specialist lender is so much more nowadays. It's really about understanding the complexities really of that end customer. But as time's gone by, customer circumstances are so much more complicated than they've ever been. I'm sure that everybody would agree the vanilla customer walking through your door is becoming less and less. So really for us at Hodge, it's about getting into the detail and understanding what are your clients trying to achieve, and then providing them with the solution and a means of how to get there. So to get to the end result. So what are they striving for? So whether it be a professional with several streams of income that a high street lender doesn't understand, it could be a holiday let investor with complex income, or a mature borrower who wants an interest only solution but needs assistance navigating the options that are available. And let's understand there are lots of availability of options in that market. The specialist products that we offer, though, as a business here today, as probably I've just alluded to, is absolutely our mature borrower range. So we've got our Rio and 50 plus mortgage products, our holiday let products, and the new one for us that was actually launched on the 5th of December is our professional mortgages.
Excellent. And I think you touched on there, Andrea, you mentioned almost gone are the days of the vanilla customer walking through the door. I think the needs of the later life customer has absolutely evolved over recent years. So I agree with what you're saying. How does Hodge service that part of the market?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the needs of your later life customer, or more mature customer, as we like to call them, has absolutely changed over recent years. So I'm sure that you're all aware the UK, of course, is an ageing population, with 1/3 of people now aged 55 and over. And another thing that I actually found really quite staggering and blows your mind is that 1 in 10 children born today will be expected to see their 100th birthday. So that just demonstrates really that the later life market is going to continue to grow year on year as the needs of this massive cohort of customers continue to evolve. So people are working longer, having children later, and of course we live in a very consumer-led society. We're all demanding more, a bigger house, a new kitchen, or just simply looking to reduce outgoings in this very difficult time that we're finding ourselves in by consolidating the debts. So yeah, mature customers, as we like to call them, are looking for an alternative to a traditional equity release. But in addition, something else that I really want everyone to think about is the need for this intergenerational lending. And this need is growing and it will only get bigger. So the BOMAD, or the Bank of Mum and Dad, is currently the UK's 9th biggest lender. However, project yourselves forward to 12 months' time, I'm sure that the BOMADs, Bank of Mum and Dad, would have absolutely moved up the ranks. So some things really to think about. With the cost of living crisis and increase in mortgage interest rates, young first-time buyers are finding it harder to save for a deposit. And of course, the bigger deposit, the lower the mortgage rate. So parents and grandparents with savings for the first time in years and years are now earning a little bit of interest, and I'm sure they're all very excited about that. So they're looking really for other ways of helping their kids getting on the housing ladder, rather than taking the money out of their investments and savings. But interestingly, though, according to Canada Life, in 2021, UK homeowners had over £740 billion worth of equity. That's £740 billion of equity that can be used to help these first-time buyers. Equity release is a great solution for many people. However, it's not for everyone. But as a specialist lender, we understand and therefore have our Rio and 50 plus products, which serves this market. But it's much more than that. Your Rio and 50 plus are also a very much an aspirational mortgage products. Many Hodge customers are raising funds for home improvements, for property investments, to boost pension income. They're upsizing, they're downsizing to more expensive properties, and so on. So in order to build up an affordability, or build up a case for you, we can use a variety of different income streams, some of which are current, such as income from pensions, employment, self-employment, income from land and property, and so on. but also look at projected income, so future incomes from state pensions, personal pensions, SIPs. And also we can take income up to and beyond elected retirement age with no upper limits, and that's the key there. So many high street lenders haven't done that type of lending before. They don't understand it, and they don't understand the complexities associated with that risk. And that's what we do well here at Hodge. So we've got a bespoke approach to underwriting. Every single case that comes into us is picked up by an underwriter and looked at and judged on its own merit. And most of all, our products are built with the end customer in mind, that I'm going to come on to a little bit later.
Lovely, thanks, Andrea. I mean, loads of staggering facts in there, particularly the 1 in 3 living over 100. I think mine and Nikki's eyes went quite wide on that one.
I know, it really blows your mind, doesn't it, really, to think about that? It
really does, bizarre. Yeah, absolutely. And I guess, I'm a firm believer that, you don't walk into a broker with a Post-it note on your head saying, I'm a remortgage customer, I'm a first-time buyer, you're not a product type. So forgive the question, but what does a later life customer look like in your mind?
Okay, so that I think is really quite an interesting question. And I really think it warrants painting a picture. So when we say later life lending, what do you really think about? Do you think of retirement, grandparent duties, a spot of afternoon gardening, that type of thing? But if I said to you, a 50-year-old borrower, suddenly it seems a little bit close to home. I'm sure that you'd all agree. A 50-year-old borrower, you wouldn't really say that they were in their later life. No. Some of them, particularly myself, would actually say they were in the prime, to be fair. So for us at Hodge, it's all about education. It's educating brokers to think differently about this market, and that's what we do, and we do really, really well. Our marketing executive, Beth Jones, has done this absolutely excellently recently. So she penned a great blog about her own circumstances. So I am just going to take a little bit of time just to paint this picture. Now, Beth, right, she is our future later life borrower, and she's recently written a blog. So Beth is almost 45. So not really, not on the 50 mark as yet, but by the time she's 55, she will have a 14-year-old son. And at that time, she'll be saving for university fees or his first car. By the age of 60, she thinks that she wants to work less and pay off some outstanding debt. But with a 19-year-old in tow, that could prove tricky, particularly if he is at university, because we know how costly that is. And by 65, she said that she wants to consider retiring, but also help to get her son on that property ladder, whilst also doing things, that we'd all like to do. So redecorating, renovating, buying a holiday home, perhaps. Maybe there's grandkids in the mix a little bit further down the line, moving to the country or coast. So many needs, so many aspirations, and it's a really, really thought-provoking piece. But later life lending isn't just changing. I would actually say to you that it actually has changed. So many of our customers are in the 50s and beyond. They're still working. They have kids at home, just like Beth. These people are looking to make the family home work for them. So rather than downsizing, for example, and maybe paying off their interest-only mortgage, or embracing, the quiet life in a bungalow, it's really more important to think about these clients, these customers, and really educate you, the brokers, to recognise the possibilities of the later life products, rather than focusing on the problems that they solve, if that makes sense. So the older borrower generally falls into 3 categories. It's really quite, I suppose, easy and clean cut to put them into categories. So you can really understand the market and probably understand the customer's motivation if they are coming to you, if they walk through your door. So the first one would be a customer who we would describe as having a need. So this type of customer might be somebody coming to the end of an interest-only mortgage with nowhere to turn. These clients who have no pension provision, perhaps, and need to use the equity in their property to really help them with their situation. So with an interest-only mortgage coming to an end, the bank is knocking on the door, really looking to call that mortgage in, and they may have received, and of course they would have received letters over the past 10 years, 5 years, 12 months, 6 months, but a lot of people do bury their head, and a lot of people need your expertise really to find a solution for them. And also it could be that your clients, as I said, you know, have got no pension provision, so they actually need to take some equity out of the property to invest in a holiday let or a buy-to-let to fund their lifestyle going into retirement. Secondly, the want clients, and these are those aspirational clients that I was talking about before. So the clients who want to upsize or downsize to a more expensive property, they want to build an extension, do some home improvements, or even buy a second home. And then thirdly, the assist clients. So these are your BOMADs or your banker mum and dads that I've already spoken about with a lot of passion, because I do think that this is an area of the market that is really going to grow and expand over the next 12 months. So those parents who want to help the children get onto the property ladder, or even pay for a wedding or pay for education.
You're scaring me, Andrea. I've got an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old, and you've just painted my future.
Yeah, I know. And it is really quite amazing when you actually start thinking about it a little bit differently and thinking about it in that way. You know, it's just huge, isn't it? And brokers have got such a massive part to play in that.
Definitely. You touched on some language earlier, and I quite liked this. I wrote this down. You said Hodge believe in serving the underserved. So what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so we are a specialist lender, as we've just been talking about, but we're not just a specialist lender in the later life and holiday let market. We are best known as that, but Hodge is all about finding those niche markets that, as you say, are underserved. So finding out the why, and what is it about that particular cohort of customers that makes it difficult, should I say, to secure mortgage finance. So I am really, really proud to announce that on the 5th of December, as I did mention very early on in the conversation, that we've actually brought to market our professionals mortgage product. So we have actually been working with Primis, the Primis network, over the past 6 months with the professionals mortgage products, and you guys had it as a semi-exclusive for that period, but working with you has really helped to shape it. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it. So the mortgage is available to professionals from the age of 21, so it is away from our mature range, but it's for professionals such as barristers, architects, doctors, dentists, etc., and actually provides a solution for those with more complex income. So whether it be customers who are newly qualified or an experienced professional with several streams of income, we've actually got a highly trained team of experienced underwriters and BDMs now waiting to work with you, using a personal, but most of all, and most importantly, a common sense approach. But some key aspects of the criteria include up to 6 times loan to income multiples, including income from professional and non-professional joint income, an elected retirement age of up to 75, up to 90% loan to value. So this is the first product in our range that we're actually going up to 90% LTV. And of course, multiple income streams, including retained profits, and 1 year account for the self-employed. But really, I really want to describe how we've actually got to this place with our professional mortgage. So we trialled the mortgage with a small number of firms who helped to shape the professional mortgage into the product that it is today. So we did some research, and the research showed us that there are a number of professional customers who still find it difficult to secure finance due to the complexities of their income. So whether that be self-employed, short-term contracts, new contracts, or a mixture of income sources. Our research and underwriting teams, though, collaborated closely, as I said, with key brokers, and they were key brokers that also included brokers from the Primis network, to ensure that we understood the individual professions. And this is really, really important. So we worked hard to get under the skin of this niche market. And as a result, working closely with the brokers, we were then able to establish the customer's needs and identified gaps. And that's what we're all about. We are all about filling in those gaps where other lenders can't fill. So of course, there are a few other lenders out there with professional mortgage products, but the mortgage product that we have launched hopefully will just bridge the gap that they can't fill. So it could be a new associate dentist without self-employed history. So we're looking at future projected income. It could be a junior doctor entering into the first term rotation contract, or a pharmacist, for example, with multiple locum contracts and work coming in. So these are just some of the professionals that we can help. But with highly experienced underwriters, we've created criteria and service. So we have a dedicated team of underwriters dedicated to the professional mortgage product. And hopefully we feel that that adds real value to this area in the market.
Fantastic. You've gone over a lot of the products there and specialist products there that maybe our brokers didn't know they got access to. There's a new one as well that's obviously launched on the 5th as well. Yeah. So you know, some great information there. So you spoke about your products. Now tell us about the team. So how is the Hodge Mortgages team different to other sales teams that are out there?
Yeah, and you know what, we've got a great team, but it is all about the whole of the mortgage team. So for me, it is about the commitment, and it's that commitment to getting to know who the end customer is, as really I've alluded to when I was talking to you about the professionals. You know, of course, Hodge is an intermediated business, can I say that word? So we spend our days speaking to brokers and intermediaries, but we wouldn't have much to talk about if we didn't know who the end customers were. So our dedication to research really is what does really set us apart. Our research really, our research and propositions team together help us paint a picture of our customers. So we do a lot of work on who are our customers on our actual mortgage book at the moment. Where have they come from? What are their circumstances? And what led the broker to recommend Hodge to them? And by knowing who our existing customers are, we can support the broker community in finding the right product for them. So from this primary research, then we regularly post educational white papers. And here at Hodge, we are absolutely a massive advocate in education. And so some examples of recent white papers that we've written include cost of living, tired of retirement, so that's all about really the changing face of retirement, and really talking about, you know, those 50 plus customers rather than looking at it the other way of 50 plus to 65 plus who are actually retired. To remortgage or not to remortgage as well. So we all know that remortgage, or the opportunities that exist in the remortgage market, particularly coming into 2023, are huge. So this support of getting to know the end customer continues throughout the whole of the broker journey, from our expert BDMs on the help desk, who are absolutely experts. So the BDMs on the help desk really can help you guys out there build a case for your clients. So sometimes in the later life space or more mature customer space, affordability can be complex. So the experts are absolutely there to help, and will help build a case. And they'll often take calls from brokers who may call it with a RIO inquiry, but once we've talked it through and ran it through the affordability calculator, it actually turns out that the RIO isn't the best product, but the 50 plus is the best product for them, or vice versa. So it is absolutely a two-way conversation. And the underwriters, they work with brokers to find a way to get the application to offer, rather than finding ways not to do business. So what I mean by that is the underwriters, if they need more information, rather than sending an email, they will actually try and pick up the phone and try and communicate and talk through a case. Because of course we all know that in areas of complex lending, it is all about understanding what your clients are looking to do, what they're looking to achieve, so we can really help and find a way to do that business. So everything that I've talked about, education is absolutely the heart of what we do. And this is demonstrated by collaboration with other lenders as well. So, you know, in intermediaries, we absolutely love to collaborate and all work together. So we provide face-to-face events and educational webinars. And Hodge is very much a member of the infamous Power of 8. If any of you out there have heard of us, watch out for our next webinar. That will be coming in the beginning of January. And Power of 8 is a collaboration of building societies and specialist lenders, and we're there to provide educational events on a regional basis. So yes.
Lovely.
Excellent.
Thanks, Andrea. And, you know, I think what I would like to say is thanks for giving us a semi-exclusive for our brokers and working with us on the pilot. You know, that sounds great, what you've launched on the 5th of December. And the sales team, the propositions team, everyone you've just talked about there sound fantastic. So excellent. Couple of last questions and then we'll let you go. But what's next for Hodge?
Right, okay, well, yeah, the next 12 months are going to be really, really exciting. And, you know, we're always innovating and looking for ways to better serve our customers. So we are always tweaking criteria, really to make it to make it more friendly. Our superpower is the niche and the underserved markets, as we've absolutely spoke about all the way through. So we love a case with a story and an opportunity to be there for a customer when other lenders might not be able to help. So we really understand this complex income piece, and absolutely throughout the next 12 to 18 months, we'll continue to develop our product range in this way, working with key broker firms and networks such as you guys, who operate in particular sectors of the industry in a specialist market, in order to us to develop our range and bring to market more exciting products. So all I would say is watch this space.
Love it. Thank you very much. And final question is, you know, we've talked about these wonderful people who work as part of Hodge and superpowers and all that kind of stuff, but how do people get in touch with Hodge?
That's a really good point. Thanks for reminding me on that, Matt. So yeah, so a couple of bits I would suppose. So email is lendingsupport@hodge.co.uk. So that's emailing with any questions or inquiries. If you want to talk to one of these BDM experts, then the number to call is 0800 138 9109. And then, of course, we have our website, which is www.hodge.uk. Sorry, I do apologize. So yeah, absolutely. So on the website, you will find everything that you need to know. You will find your local BDM. You'll find lots of case studies bringing our projects to life. And also on the broker hub, there is that all important web chat. So please do use the web chat facility. It's brilliant, and you get a response really quickly. So I would say to contact us either via telephone, via that email, or via the web chat that's available on the broker hub through the website.
Amazing. Thanks, Andrea. So I guess that just leaves us to wish all of our vodcast viewers a very Merry Christmas, Nikki, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And Merry Christmas to all our listeners. Yeah.
Indeed. And Nikki's favourite Christmas artist is Shakin' Stevens. Am I right, Nikki?
Thanks for that, Matt. Thanks for that.
Love it.
You are right. Yeah.
I am right, and I have to embarrass her at the end of the year, Andrea.
Thanks.
It's, you know, part of the new ritual.
That is funny.
So listen, thanks ever so much for joining us, Andrea. Loads of useful stuff about Hodge. It was nice to spend some time with you today. And if anyone wants to get in touch with Hodge, you've got all those details that Andrea's just passed on. So have a great Christmas, folks, and we'll see you all next year. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Nikki. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.